Welcome into our Locked On Sports broadcast on this NBA trade deadline day. We are getting closer and closer to that 3 p.m. Eastern time deadline, but there's a flurry all the way to it. That's why we've got our guy Gavin Schall here from Locked On Knicks, because the Knicks made one of those big deals, 6-player deal to be exact, according to multiple reports. The Knicks are getting Bojan Bogdanovic, Alec Burks. The Pistons are getting Evan Fournier, Malachi Flynn, Ryan Arcidiacono, and Quinten Grimes. And I think, Gavin, it's safe to say, especially as someone who covers the Hawks, a team that's in the East, who at some point was kind of right there 1-2 with the Hawks and Knicks, that the Quinten Grimes one, that's probably the toughest part of the deal for maybe Knicks fans to part ways with Quinten Grimes.
Oh yeah, easily. Literally the only part of the deal I care about. I think I can comfortably speak for Knicks Nation on that standpoint. Painful to lose him, particularly about a month after trading Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett. The Knicks had this fairly promising young core, Indeed. And I would say more than anything else, 3 guys who were all about the right stuff. But out of the 3 of them, Grimes was kind of the clearest fit going forward. Obviously, with Quickley, there were very substantial questions about, all right, like he's clearly a starter in this league. Like, will Tom Thibodeau start him next to Jalen Brunson? The answer is ultimately no. RJ Barrett never made any sense with Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. Quinten Grimes made a whole lot of sense with those 2 guys. He made a whole lot of sense with whoever the Knicks brought in. He makes a lot of sense on any team, which is why it's so much value. Like, a great defender, maybe just because of his height, and not short of elite, but fantastic screen navigation, like really an asset from that perspective in the playoffs, as the Knicks found out when he got that game-sealing steal on Jimmy Butler in Game 5 last year. And a good three-point shooter. I think someone the Knicks thought would be an elite three-point shooter, and the fact that he hasn't been quite that this year is maybe why they felt comfortable moving off of him. But overall, Tenitra, we're going to get into it, I think this was an excellent deal for the Knicks.
Indeed. And you have a Jalen Brunson. And this, to me, kind of, as you and I talked about, signals in a positive, is an optimistic signal that, hey, Julius Randle is going to be able to get back. Got Jalen Brunson. You've got an all-star, one of the guys who's playing not just lights out for the Knicks and lights out in the Eastern Conference. You could argue that he's one of the best players in the league. You sometimes even hear a chance of MVP. So yeah, you want to do whatever you can to shore it up, especially because in the Eastern Conference, you kind of got those 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's everybody else, in my opinion. And I feel like the Knicks are definitely playing in that top 4 space. And I feel like they've been building on each and every game, each and every week here. So I kind of like this deal. But also, one of the things that's very interesting is something about the Knicks that I've noticed the last couple of postseasons, I'll say, even when the Atlanta Hawks had the opportunity to kind of mix it up with them. And it's that scoring piece that sometimes just kind of goes by the wayside, arguably falls off a cliff when it comes to the postseason. You now have a guy in Bogdanovic who's able to maybe give you a little something. And I love the term, so I'm not going to even say it. I can't say it the way you said it. The return of Alec Burks. I love how you called it out, but what does it mean to have those guys here as the Knicks make that final push, not just to the postseason, but hopefully get into a position where they can be at the top of the conference in the postseason?
Yeah, Tenitra, it's the re-Burking, and we're all no one's more excited than Tom Thibodeau. Like, he's somewhere right now, like covered in sweat, like hands are shaking as they do when he gets excited. He could not be more thrilled to have Alec Burks back on this roster. But personally, I hate to differ with Coach Tibbs, but Bojan Bogdanovic is the prize piece of this trade. You noted it. The Knicks were the 3rd best offense in the NBA last year in the regular season. And in the playoffs, I think only the Cleveland Cavaliers ended up being worse. The Knicks, in fact, might have ended up being the worst offense in the postseason last year. And Jalen Brunson was electric. He was incredible, like particularly in the second round series against the Heat. His game translated to postseason basketball, even if Candace Parker doesn't believe it, better than anyone could have possibly anticipated. And he's been even better this year. He's a bona fide superstar. The issue last year was, at least offensively. Defensively, the Knicks were sublime. Offensively, he had zero help, basically. And the fact that Quinten Grimes, the Knicks were something like 20 points better per 100 possessions when he was on the court last year, despite the fact that he shot 30% from the field and 24% from 3, which is a compliment to his defense, but more so, he was basically the one guy the Knicks had on the perimeter that defenses actually respected and said, hey, this dude is a shooter. We have to get out on him. And that gave Jalen Brunson just a minimal amount of room to operate. And you look from that to where the Knicks are now. Dante DiVincenzo, 40+% from 3 on high volume. OG Anunoby, one of the best corner 3-point shooters on planet Earth. The Knicks needed to supplement that with some above the break 3-point shooting. And that's what Bogdanovic does. He is amongst the best in the NBA in that capacity, a full-on 3-level scorer, certainly at his best in mid-range and from distance. And then Alec Burks, a little old, a little weathered, but still has a bag. So I think the Knicks are maybe the deepest team in the league after this trade. And I think they're doing justice to the fact, as you noted, Jalen Brunson, this pains me to say with our buddy Nick Angstad of Locked on Mavs listening, but I would say legitimately a top 15 player in basketball at this point come playoff time.
Yeah, I'd have to concur with you on that. Appreciate you stopping by, Gavin. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Locked On Knicks, because that's the part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.